RadNet, a stronger and more connected community. It's a vision for a better future.
What is going on, everybody? Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you guys. Man, if you guys are hanging out with me tonight, thank you so much. I am impressed. It is a holiday. I shouldn't even be on here right now, but I wanted to talk about this. I was kind of waiting on something to talk about this, but I said, you know what? Let's do it. Let's talk about some wish lists. Let's talk about 2024. Let's move forward and talk about 2025. And I had a little bit of time and I said, let's do it tonight. And whoever comes in here, man, thank you again so much. And everybody catching on the replay, thank you for checking this out, because I think this is a topic that a lot of collectors, physical media collectors, horror fans, really enjoy. And I think they're really going to like my take on a lot of this stuff. I've talked about, the way I look at physical media now on multiple videos. I've seen other videos of people who are big time movie collectors that things are just crazy now in the physical media community and in the world because things are going up in price. They're re-releasing shit all the time. There's steel books, there's big boxes, there's slip covers. Like, there's so many editions of these things. Like, what do you choose? What do you want? What can you let slide? And I want to kind of talk about my take tonight and what I'm really looking for when it comes to physical media going forward. But I think 2024 was actually a really strong year for horror fans and horror collectors and longtime physical media collectors. And I'll get into that as we go. But guys, just say what's up, people who are in the house right now, hanging out with me on Christmas evening, 2024. This is wild. Let's see what you guys got. What up, Max? Merry Christmas to you. Gora Tiger. What's up, man? What's in the name? It says, Merry Christmas, you rad animal. Thank you so much. Have a ratty Christmas, everyone. Congrats on the major figure pod notice. You like that, huh? Woo! Hell yeah, man. I am a huge, huge Cardona fan. So the fact that he shared my stuff was huge. It's kind of almost like a bucket list item for me to somehow get that dude on this show in some form. Because I've said this a long time. I think that the way he does things, his podcast, and, it has to mostly do with wrestling, but I feel like he's been a huge influence on just how I treat this brand. Yeah, that's super cool that he did share my stuff today. Foz Rotten, what is going on, man? Fozzy Rotten, my man, how are you, man? I hope you had a great day. I love that picture, dude. That's sick. Anthony, what's up, man? Merry Christmas to you. Electric Entertainment Podcast in the house. Merry Christmas to you. Vanderhoff is here. Merry Christmas, my dude. You could have my Vinegar Syndrome order in. Like you got it? I haven't got mine here yet. Obviously, you guys know I was able to get my order the day after, so I did order a couple other things that aren't here yet. Especially like my side roads. That's not here, anything like that. Cool, man. I appreciate that. Sharing this on IG. Guys, if you want to share this out on your socials, let people know I am live if they're looking for something to do out there. Like I said, I really just kind of decided to do it 15 minutes ago, so I appreciate it. Quietly Games in the house. Hello. Happy holidays to you. Who's this? Sasha Bay. How did I put this room together? This was kind of a work in progress. If you're new to the channel, you can check out my room tour videos. I did a room tour 1, which is about another room that is out this door. And then I did another video talking about my wall of fame, which was about my autograph collection, which took up most of this room. And then my room tour 2 video is basically about this room, which is my movie library and also now my studio. So if you want to take a look at that, I kind of explain it throughout those videos. So you could watch those 3 videos or even just movie room tour 1 and 2 and get a nice kind of full story on how this is all set up and stuff. But in a brief summary, I talked about the channel and the brand and I wanted to evolve it. I think my previous backdrop and stuff was great. A lot of people had complimented me on it, especially like even the early days of YouTube for me. People were always like, oh man, I love the background. I love the aesthetics with the neon lights. You had all these different posters you'd switch out. And I love that. But I was in the middle of like my movie room where I like watch movies. So it's basically I was looking out into like a huge living room. I was kind of sitting like in the back end of the room, like towards the wall. So I had this room here, which was filled with movies. And I thought to myself, you know what? If I could make this more of a studio, I could lock the door, when I'm live and just feel a little bit more comfortable in here. And I have all this stuff around me, physical media, action figures, all this crazy stuff to help me keep me inspired. And I had like a clean slate to kind of try to figure out a background that I really wanted to work here. And, that I kind of had a vision of what I wanted the background to be. I knew I wanted a rad neon sign. I wanted to have a poster or two. I wanted to still represent physical media. I wanted to have props. So it was a little work in progress, but it was a vision that I had. It just took a little bit to do, but it's complete. And I'm actually very, very happy with it. It's funny because sometimes people think they'll comment on videos and be like, nice fake background or something like that. And I'm like, no, dude, it's real as it can be. But thank you for being here, Sasha Bay. What Prince says, thanks on the Corey Haim recommendations. Yes, if you guys didn't know, I did a Corey Haim video with Mel from My Killer Podcast with Staunch TV. And we talked all of Corey Haim's 90s movies and how much of an appreciated or overlooked decade that was for him, where he was transitioning from child actor to more like adult actor, and what they really wanted to do with him at that time. And he was going through a lot of struggles personally, but they felt that he was such a strong actor and could be a strong lead man that maybe they can try to work on his demons throughout the process and get him to start starring, as a lead in like these action movies to kind of reinvigorate his career. And he actually does have some real cool movies from the 90s. Unfortunately, there's a lot of history behind the scenes during a lot of those movies, which we do get into on that video. So if you guys have any, interest in learning about Corey Haim and what was happening to him through the 90s, because me, I'm a huge Corey Haim fan. He's another one that I, really love. And it was his birthday on the 23rd. So every year around his birthday, we try to do some kind of Corey's related stream. And that's what we chose this year. And having Staunch TV on was great because, he dedicates basically his channel to Corey Feldman and Corey Haim related stuff. So he knows a lot of stuff. So it was very, very cool talking to him about that. So if you guys want to go check that out, that is in my live. We did that I think on Saturday. Let me see. Ragnar says it was okay, just a lot of 4K represses. Yeah, and I will get into that too. That could be a hot take as well. Foz said, I'm waiting for the new TerraVision release of Late Night Classes Volume 2. Lots of USF, but interesting. I didn't even see this. I must not have noticed this. Is this something that was just announced? Let me see. Oh, the Major Wrestling. It's like one of my favorite podcasts. I've been listening since day one. And yeah, every Christmas they do a retrospective on a specific wrestling action figure line, and I watch it every year. Let me see. Thank you. I hope you did as well. Who's more controversial, David Arquette or Jim Cornette? Probably Cornette. Oh, hell yeah. Good choices, man. Let me know, Vanderhoff, about Blood Tracks. I guess so I had mentioned when I got mine that I found that there was some audio issues. Like the way it sounded was like, it almost was like it was going in and out a little bit. It was loud and soft and on one speaker, then on both speakers. And a lot of people had mentioned that they kind of felt that way too. But then I guess in the description, which I didn't read, it said, audio was best audio possible, blah, 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 blah. And then other people in like a forum that I'm part of, like, oh no, the audio's fine. So I'm just curious if it's just a few, if I'm overthinking it or what, but it seems like no matter what, it's the best they can do. And I actually found Blood Tracks a real good movie for something I'd never seen before. So I was really happy with that. What up, Pooch? Merry Christmas to you. Waiting for Bird Eater from Australia. Yeah, I mean, Umbrella has been doing great. Mid-level, Merry Christmas, man. I hope you had a good one as well, you and the fam. Go check out Ken at Mid-Level Media. Me and Ken are going to be doing a collab video very soon. I'm I'm just waiting for Mr. Ken because we are going to be unboxing and showcasing and talking about this bad boy right here, which is the Never Ending Story set. And him and I got it, so I think he's still waiting on his. So I'm waiting for him to open mine, and we can kind of check it out together. And I've honestly stayed away from like any post or video related to that because I want to kind of see it firsthand and give my first opinion on it. So I'm hoping he gets that in soon so we can maybe pop that thing out this week. Noise Loop, Merry Christmas. Pausing my yearly watch of Christmas Evil to hang out. Hell yeah. I don't understand. Why is it not letting you comment? I see it right here. That's super weird to me. Like, I've really never blocked anybody, especially not Noise. I mean, I don't know why this is having an issue here. I said this before too. People said that maybe not the lives, but a lot of my like actual videos that I drop, they're not getting notifications for them. And they actually have to kind of search for it. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my God. Sorry guys. I pressed a wire because I thought it was coming out and I totally just lost connection. Sorry about that. But yeah, if you guys aren't let me know if you can hear me and see me. Okay, I'm gonna skim down to the bottom because I just touched the wire I shouldn't have touched. Let me know, guys. Can you hear me, see me? Okay, let me know real quick. Do I sound okay? Can you see me? Let me know. Okay, thank you. All right. I see wet movie in the house. I'm going to come back to the top a little bit here. Okay, so okay, Noise. Yeah, people were saying that they weren't seeing my vids. They had to search for them. So if you guys can go make sure all the notifications are on, I guess. I think you got to put like everything on or something like that. But I checked from my end and everything looks good. Blu-ray Addict, what's up, man? Brendan, what's going on? Pooch, just for the Rad Pack, like 13 years old, has more game than you do. What? What the hell? Does he? I mean, I guess so. I mean, he would like to hear that, I think. You're killing me. Oh my God. Oh my God. No, I haven't counted. I'm probably 5,000 or so. Toy Talk, guys. What's up? I'm the man, Garrett. I'm on the hunt for a Keep 4K. Thanks to you. Great. Good luck. Blu-ray said I watched Krampus earlier and I still love it. Great comedy. I think Krampus is a good is good. I'm not the biggest like Krampus is the greatest thing ever. I think it's good. But I know a lot of people like love it. It's not one I watch every year, surprisingly. I've probably only seen it about 3 times. But it seems like a lot of people are really, really into it. What up, Will? See a couple of William Hung's in here. New peeps popping. I hope so too. I'm going to get into that, and I apologize for anybody who's waiting for me to get to this list. But I like on these lives to be able to interact with people. Speaking of that, Cobwebs, what's up, Daniel? Check out the Born2beRad. Woo! I'm curious to see what you have to say about that. Nosferatu. I actually was going to record maybe after this tonight or tomorrow, like a full spoiler heavy review because I already did my spoiler free review. And I just feel like there's a lot more I want to say about the movie. And I really didn't want to ruin it for anybody because I was lucky enough to see it early, but I wanted people to obviously watch what I thought without being spoiled because they did a pretty good job, with this movie, like trying to be secretive about certain things. So I wanted to respect that, but I do have a lot more to say about Nosferatu beyond what I said in the video. So I'm very curious to see your thoughts on it. Let me see. Oh, I saw that. Okay. Yeah. I did see that. Go check out Cobwebs, by the way. Cobwebs channel, Daniel. You didn't notice anything. What the hell, man? I turned my surround sound off. I turned my receiver off and played it through the TV, and I was still getting it. And I was like, what's going on here? So I don't know. Chris C, the Slasher, what's up? Merry Christmas, man. Appreciate that. Hit that like button, guys, if you're in here right now. I appreciate that greatly. Really helps the channel out. LA Jules in the house. Haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for being here. Michelle, how are you? Um, let me see. Thank you, Web Movie. You're good, bro. Go check out What Movie One. OG over there. Thank you, Mikara. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna get to some of these and I'll get back to you. I wish I could be as rad as you in the pit. You are rad, Brendan. You're rad and wet. Brendan Mitchell. Will I be pre-ordering? Probably not. I don't know. I'm gonna say first, like no, like I don't. It's not one of those movies I love, but I do only have it on DVD on like a snapper case, so it's probably due for an upgrade and a rewatch. But it's not one that I was always a huge fan of. Aces, what up? Avery wasn't getting. I'm telling you, a bunch of people have messaged me about that when I posted some video, and I don't know why. I really don't. And Tanis, thank you. You too, Captain Ron, baby, Captain Ron. Any advice for insuring physical media collection? I just started and I want to secure them. I mean, I do have like insurance on my collection. I mean, it's kind of almost like a guesstimate of insurance. I mean, I could probably adjust it now, but that's all I have. It's just like a part of my insurance that has to do with like this collection kind of thing. Game Treks. I think that's hard, man. I feel like they're the same but very different. A purist wants to say Home Alone, the original, but I think with all the characters and stuff in part 2, I do think part 2 is probably overall a more fun movie. But it's a hard one, man. It really is. There's not many movies that the sequel is just as good or if not better than the original. Aces, yeah. Yeah, I saw you in Matt's chat earlier, so he wants us to do a Run commentary. Rambo Raff likes Run. I'd be happy to do a commentary with him about it, and I could probably even get a couple more people on with us about that movie itself. I think Run's a fantastic movie. The chat is wild tonight, man. I'm gonna do my best to keep up. Let me see. I think my app is just being done with the commenting issue. Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. I really don't. I'm hearing Neverending Story Set is great. Just in hearsay of people who got it, they'll ask me, "Did you get it?" I said I did, and they'll say, "Oh, it's so cool." I saw that it was big, which is, I mean, I can tell by this box. And Lisa Downs, who did the Neverending Story documentary on this release, had told me that she got hers and it's fantastic. So, I really believe her because, she's touched a lot of props and stuff from the movie and all that stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it and talking about it. Michelle liked and subscribed. Thank you so much, Michelle. I appreciate that. Anybody else who's not subscribed to the channel, if you like what you see, hit that sub button and check out some of the content. Chris C said he liked Nosferatu 3 out of 5. I can respect that. Let me see. People are starting to talk about the guys. Just do me a favor. Don't spoil Nosferatu in here for anybody who hasn't seen it. Game Treks, do you ever run into issues having limited? Yes, that is definitely one of the hardest things is the space. And I will tell you this, like I have a lot of space and the fact that I feel like it's slim, tells you a lot about like what other people might be dealing with. Right. So I mean, I've got to a point where I've really got to like, I've got like this whole wall over here. You can see it if you watch my room tour too. This is all horror DVDs. It goes all the way down the wall. And I try when I upgrade stuff to like take those out and like store them somewhere to just create more space. This over here is all non-horror DVDs. So there's going to get to a point where if I have to really start condensing some stuff up, I'm going to probably start taking a lot of this non-horror stuff and like toting them away or something like that, or start taking a lot of stuff that I'm not really watching or I haven't watched in years. Like I'm going to just point to one right now. Whatever Works with Larry David, I've got on this wall right here. I've watched it once. Like that doesn't really need to be, at my fingertips all the time where I can add something cool to the shelf. So there's a lot of stuff in here, in the non-horror stuff that I could easily, do away with for a little while. So yeah, it's hard. And I usually try to organize I'm always cleaning. I'm always organizing to an extent, but like I just did a full organization because of we hosted last night here. So I wanted to make sure everything was presentable and nice and all that stuff. But I try to do it often. The problem is it gets so messy because of shows. Like even just today, I took things out to talk about. I've got stacks of stuff over here that I got in that I have to talk about. Stacks of stuff of videos I'm prepping. Like it's always kind of messy in here, which does suck. Um, all right, so let's get into this and I will get back to the chat. But what I wanted to talk about is 2024 horror physical media, because I do think that there was really good stuff this year. And when I say that, and I'm only going to talk about 5 right now, I was going to do more, but I wanted to keep it an even number. And one of the releases that was going to be on this list I was going to talk about is not here. And I don't think it's coming this year, which it was supposed to. And I'll talk about that right before I get to the list. But what I can appreciate about this year is that they gave us some grails. Like if you would have told me last year to create a list of 20 movies, horror movies that needed to be upgraded or needed to be have a better treatment on 4K, a lot of these movies I'm going to talk about would have been on the list. And that is a very rare thing, is that like these grails of like these movies that have been needing upgrades for so long are being delivered. Like I feel like a lot of these movies that I've wanted forever has taken so long to actually come to us. Now, this kind of has to do with the whole mindset of re-releases and upgrades and stuff like that. And you know, I'm very picky when it comes to how I decide if I'm going to upgrade something or not. I don't upgrade everything anymore. But and it's so this could be a hot take, but like the whole idea of when something's announced and if you know all the comments are like, what about a 4K? Where's the 4K? Like that irks the shit out of me, because like I think there's so many bigger issues and so many movies that are undiscovered to worry about the same 50 movies just being upgraded onto 4K. So again, these that I'm going to talk about, there's always loopholes in what I'm saying here, and I'll talk about that. But I think that we as a community did think about like, what is it that we haven't gotten in a long time? Like, do I really need Silent Night, Deadly Night in 4K when I've got a beautiful Silent Night, Deadly Night on Blu-ray that came out, you know, 5-6 years ago? And you know, I might be off a little bit on that, but not forever and a day ago. Or would I rather get a movie that hasn't seen the light of day that's really good from VHS or from DVD or stuff like that? I personally, there's so many. I did my Corey Haim stream the other night, and literally his whole catalog is stuck on VHS and DVD, right? So I guess if you're not a Corey Haim fan, that doesn't matter to you. But for someone like me, you're like, these are the type of movies I'm really excited for and I'll really mark out for. You know, seeing a re-release of a lot of these things that we're getting, it's just is like, sometimes I just don't care. There's obviously reasons I upgrade certain things, and there's reasons I don't upgrade certain things. So again, what I'm going to talk about today is that some of these releases that I personally like went nuts for when they were announced. And these are the kind of releases that I want to talk about. Now, the one that I wanted to add to this list, and I would want to do this video for a while, but I was waiting for this title. And guys, we've got like a couple days left in the month or in the year, and this hasn't seen any movement. So as much as they said it would be out in December, I don't think it's coming. And as much as I hope it's here this week, I'm going to kind of be upset because I'm like, I should have just waited to do this video. But to me, as crazy as this is I'm so excited for Rumpelstiltskin. And for a lot of people, they're probably like, oh, trash, garbage. And I'm more excited for that than I am friggin' Alien or Aliens on 4K. Like I am. Like I think Aliens is fantastic. I think things like Signs are fantastic, or you know, but I would rather have something like that, which has been lost for so damn long. And like I said, I had a DVD of it. I sold it back in the day for about $100 because it was so out of print. And I thought for sure once Vinegar Syndrome was a company that they were going to release it. And it took a long time for that to happen. But that's just going back to like the kind of shit I'm into. Not everybody's going to like Rumpelstiltskin. It's cheesy, but I like that stuff. Like I'm more intrigued by a lot of that stuff than I am for a lot of the mainstream stuff that comes out now. So for me, that was going to be on this list. Is Rumpelstiltskin was going to be on this list. But unfortunately, I don't have it, and I don't think it's going to be here this year. So it'll be on something else I do in January, probably. So that's not on the list. I'm going to talk about 5. I even have a couple honorable mentions, I guess, but I wanted to keep it a pretty even number. Now, I have these kind of ranked right now. And I'll go by number 5 to number 1 in my opinion. Now, remember, this list is just my opinion. Maybe some people agree with me, maybe they don't, but I just appreciated some of these releases that we got this year. And the first one I'm going to talk about isn't an old movie. It's actually pretty modern, and it's horror. And I think this was an important release for the horror fans. And that is Hush from Scream Factory. Now, do I think this is an A+ movie? I'm going to watch this every year? No. I think it's a good movie. But what this does now is this opens doors. This to me opens doors for other things that we never thought we'd see on physical media. These things that are made for Netflix or I'm trying to think if there's another movie I'm thinking of. I mean, Barbarian, things like that. Does this open a door to get Midnight Mass on physical media? Midnight Mass, if I look at that as a long movie or miniseries or whatever, is one of the coolest things I've seen in many, many years. So if this opens doors to more physical media for these made for Netflix or whatever shows or movies, then man, that gives us a lot more to be excited for. So I put this on the list. This was where Rumpelstiltskin was going to be, but I wanted to talk about Hush because I think this was a big get for Scream Factory. I think this was a big get for horror collectors because, like I said, it's taken something that I didn't think we were going to get anytime soon, and it kind of a little sneak attack by Scream Factory and put this thing out. And I give Scream Factory a lot of shit sometimes. They were always my number one favorite physical media label for many, many years. I think that they've really kind of stumbled a little bit lately with their decision making. They're losing a lot of titles to Kino. They're re-releasing some of their big titles, which is cool. But besides, in my opinion, Faculty, this is probably one of the best ones they've done all year. But they need to get some more bangers out there. But Hush made my list, and that was kind of by default here because of Rumpelstiltskin. But I do think that this was a huge and important release this year for horror fans, and I'm happy to have it finally. And again, they gave you some cool stuff with this. I mean, you even take this slip off. Oh, I don't even have it flipped, but the other side has got the black and white cover. You get the black and white version. I mean, I love when they add these little things in here to kind of make it a little bit different. So as I flip this around, now you've got this in black and white, which is really, really cool. So to have those versions on here, I think just makes this a little bit more special of a release, and bravo to them for getting this out. And I hope there's more. Like I said, Midnight Mass would be a fantastic get for somebody to put out. But yeah, that's Hush coming in at my number 5 of my most important physical media horror movies of the year. And before I get into number 4, I'm going to see what people are saying. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here. If I see anybody popping in, or there's Mel, My Killer Podcast. Go check out Mel. She's 1/3 of the Rad Pack. You can see me and Mel on that Corey Haim show. You can see me and Mel on Saturday. We're going to be doing a Rad Pack Christmas. If you want to check out our podcast, it's at the Rad Pack Pod on YouTube. That's our video format. Or follow us at the Rad Pack Podcast on any podcast audio platforms, and we're there too. But the Christmas episode is always one of our most popular, where we kind of do a Secret Santa and send each other gifts and open them live. And it's fun. And not only that, but we're going to be doing a members only show afterwards, a little after show. And it's going to get a little wet and wild over there. So you might want to stick around for that too. So, yeah, check out Mel over at My Killer Podcast. All right. People are in the house. What's going on, everybody? If I don't say hi, I apologize. I'm trying to get to people's thoughts on, Hush and stuff like that. Okay, I'm gonna start seeing some Rumpelstiltskin talk. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, guys. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. I don't like to shit on anybody else's opinion, to be honest with you, but I've just been doing this and in this game for so long that I'm at a point now where it's like, give me some of this shit I want to watch. Like, I don't, not the stuff I have and I can watch over and over again. I want the stuff that I can't see and finally get to watch those things again. So, and I'm not saying it's overrated, but I also am not completely sold on 4K. Sometimes I feel things look fantastic. I've never seen them better. Other times I'm kind of like, the Blu-ray didn't look that much different. Or, hey, I might even say, I didn't like the color correction on the 4K. I actually prefer my Blu-ray. It's give or take. The problem with that is if I do upgrade, I don't want to have to keep my Blu-ray sometimes, especially if it's kind of like a very standard edition. But if there's a color correction that I'm not the most happy with, then I will have to keep the Blu-ray around. Cobweb says, preach, brother, I don't need the 4K. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I'm trying to say, for sure. I mean, we're talking horror right now, but 100% Can't Buy Me Love and Encino Man. These are all movies that need it. Like, I would go nuts for Can't Buy Me Love. I would go nuts for Encino Man. I'd go nuts for Loverboy. These are movies that need special treatment. They're stuck on standard def, and they need love. And I don't know if there's rights issues. And I know Disney owns a lot of stuff they're kind of holding on to, but man, I would love to see some of that stuff come out. Hey, John Doe. Thank you, man. Thank you. Let me see. I did not get the 4K of The Case of the Blood Iris. I did not. Substance is coming. So like, those are ones that I think of when I talk about, things I want. Like, I could easily say, Substance right now is my favorite horror movie of the year. I need it on physical media. We know it's coming. I think I already have it pre-ordered. So that's the difference, right? Let me see. The Red Shirt Pictures release number 2 should be out soon. I wouldn't say soon, but it'll be out next year for sure. I don't know, man. It said it was going to be shipped in December, but I mean, we don't have much time left. John Doe says, Hush. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Don't get me started, Ragnar. I hate anything with these little bars on the top, like we're idiots and we need to know this is HD. You can just look at the side. It should say it right there. But yeah, to me, it just doesn't feel like a work of art. It feels like just a piece of paper, like that could be easily thrown away. But I have to keep it on there with Scream Factory because every collector's edition I own has it. So I have to aesthetically do it that way, or else I'm going to drive myself nuts. We all have our problems, man. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, I think that's 100% as well. But again, this opens doors for something like that, right? Like you kind of think, oh, wow, if this does well, then maybe we can get some of this other stuff. And 100% the Babysitter movies. I have that on a bootleg, but you're right. I would love to see that and Fear Street as well. 100%. I mean, I would go nuts for a Midnight Mass. Bronson, thank you, man. I hope you did as well. Thank you for being here. Well, it seems like Kino has taken all those editions, which, again, I love Kino. I do, especially because you can get them cheap if you wait. I don't collect Kino slipcovers, so I usually hold off on getting them day one. But then I make big purchases or something like later down the road. I'm actually overdue for some Kino stuff. And I would love to see, Brain Scan in 4K. Like I would get that because I feel like that would look really cool. But the only thing about Kino, which again, I don't want to feel like I'm a package collector, but some of these movies that I've have 100 times, like Brain Scan, I wouldn't mind somebody, prettying it up a little bit and making it a real cool edition, like Arrow or something like that. I kind of would like that for it. Kino doesn't do that stuff, which it is what it is. I mean, but for some of this stuff, I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more love on these things. I don't know what you're saying. Oh my God. Yeah, I watched Holliston. I actually live right over there in that area. So of course I was watching that for sure. And Mel posted the Radpack podcast link in the chat. If anybody wants to go hit the sub so you don't miss that show on Saturday. Okay. Steve, what's up, brother? I heard Devil might be coming. So Allie, thank you, kid. Hit that like button. I appreciate that, girl. Hope you had a good holiday as well. All right, so let's get into my number 4. Now, this one is kind of one that broke a little bit of a rule I was talking about. I said, I don't need something that's had a Blu-ray. I don't need that. This was a little bit different because this is one that I feel like is going to kick off something that we all need or we all want. And I'm going to tell you, this looked better than I've ever seen it. So this is one of those situations where I'm like, oh my God, this looked unbelievable. And that was the Nightmare on Elm Street 4K. So I got the 4K set. If anybody needs this, I have two. I need to sell it because I purchased two by accident because I'm an idiot. And I bought it from two sites and I forgot I bought it the first time. So if anybody needs this or they want it, I do have one that's still in sealed that I need to try to sell because I can't return it to where I bought it. So if anybody's still after this thing, I don't know if it's sold out or whatever, but hit me up and we can I'll sell it to you for cost basically. But yeah, I think this was important this year because it gives us hope. And when it comes to something like Nightmare on Elm Street, to be stuck on a shit Blu-ray box set that it was stuck on, and it had other Blu-rays. I have like a Steelbook and stuff. But this was kind of needed because it was a kick in the ass to see what the fans were going to do. And I think the fans really took to this. And I think they really put a lot of effort into this set. You've obviously got the Steelbook and stuff inside, which I love the fact that they did the original artwork in here. Like, it's just really, really, really cool. And the way that they did it was awesome. Like, you got a certificate of authenticity, all this other stuff. Granted, it was a little bit expensive. It was a little bit pricey if you bought this edition, but they did give you the other edition that had that cool red slipcover on it from the old DVD days. But I think Nightmare on Elm Street was a really important edition for 2024 because it's going to kickstart something bigger. And I think it's something that we all want. But my only concern is that it's going to give us exactly what we got on Blu-ray, but on 4K, which means this is going to be a super sick edition, and then the box set's going to be like shitty. I mean, unless they can kind of, I don't know, man, like maybe they'll see how good something like this did and give us a little more prestigious box set, because if they do what they did on the last one, I think a lot of collectors are going to be kind of bummed. But I do want to see Elm Street get some love. And Friday the 13th Part 2 on 4K didn't make this list because as much as it's important for Friday to get love, I love that Scream Factory box set so much that I'm like, I wouldn't ever need anything more than this. Would I buy a 4K box set Friday the 13th? Probably, because I'm a Friday the 13th nut. But I think that what we have from Scream Factory is more than I'll ever need. But Elm Street, I don't have anything like that. I don't have a really cool, prestigious box set that can sit on the top of my shelf and, you know, stand with the Halloweens and the Friday the 13th. So the Elm Street 4K this year was super important for our horror fans because it's kind of just been a dormant franchise for a long time. And I think it really needs that love, and I'm glad that they were able to do it. But yeah, that was on my list at number 4 because it's so important to the genre, even though, like I said, it does have a Blu-ray and stuff like that. But that was the kind of like, that's the only one in this that's really breaking the rule that I talked about earlier, because it's different. Hasn't had anything nice in a long, long time. Let me see. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. What, buying 2 things? Hell yeah, we all have, right? Oh man, yeah, with the I'll buy that for $1. Let me see. Yeah, it is a great release. Great release. Avery. Well, if you need it, I mean, I got one. So Warner Brothers said they're coming out with a box set this year. What the details of that box set is, I have no idea. Again, who's to say? I mean, maybe they're working with another company. I mean, you know, Arrow put out some of these Friday the 13th movies on 4K. Maybe they're seeing, oh wow, people really like those. You know, let's work together on a set. I mean, that's what I would like to see. Warner and Arrow working together on a box set for Elm Street. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So number 3, and a lot of people are going to be, damn it. But this was huge. It's not the greatest movie in the world. It had potential to be a freaking amazing movie, but I like it for what it is. And to see this finally get some love, it didn't only excite me, but it excited a lot of people because this thing sold out so damn fast. It's The Keep in 4K. This movie has been so lost for so long. And if you look at anybody's list of horror movies they wanted to see upgraded, this would have been on everybody's list, unless even if they didn't see it, they would have heard about it and they would have wanted to see it and they would have wanted it. So when this was released, I wasn't shocked that it sold so fast, to some extent. Well, I was shocked it sold so fast because I wasn't 100% sure how many people had seen this, but I also know how many people wanted to see this movie. Now, The Keep is interesting because, like I said, you can watch my full review on it. I enjoy it. I see its problems. I think there's a lot of promise to this movie, which it could have been so good. And I wish we could see that director's cut someday, which doesn't seem like it's going to be possible. But if Michael Mann saw how much people were interested in this by the way this thing is selling on eBay, then maybe he'll actually buckle down and try to do something with it if it's still available, I guess. But this had to be on my list because this was a holy grail for a lot of horror fans and a lot of physical media collectors. The Keep was stuck on VHS, didn't even have a freaking DVD. So the fact that this is finally coming out, it was mind blowing to me because it was one of those movies that people always thought, will we ever see this movie again? And again, I'm happy to have it. But I do understand from a movie standpoint, if some people just didn't really get it because it was heavily edited for theatrical release. And that's why Michael Mann was so upset, because it was like, what did you do to this movie? This was a masterpiece. When you look at some of the effects in this movie for the time, it was awesome. Like this was really, really cool. But yeah, I had to add this to the list because it was, like I said, a holy grail for a lot of horror fans. Holy grail for sure. But guys, there's a lot of people in here right now. Feel free to chime in the chat. I will get to you as soon as I can. Dallas, what's up, man? And make sure to hit that like button if to help the show out. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe over, because we have 2 more left on my top 5 favorite horror releases of 2024. And like I said, my reasoning and why they're my favorite might be a lot different than other people's. But I did get into that earlier, so you have to go back and check it out. But number 2 is one that I never thought we'd see. There was a lot of issues with it with HBO, and I never thought that we would catch this thing again. Luckily, I had a DVD, but I wanted to see this in better quality. I wanted to see this get more love. I had a snapper case DVD from, I don't even know, the late 90s. And this was announced by a couple companies this year, which was wild. But this is the one that I think gave it so much love that it deserved. And I think it opened the eyes to this movie for people that maybe never checked it out before, because it was so stuck on physical media for such a long time on DVD that they never were able to see it, or they never thought about it because people didn't really talk about it unless they were doing like a wish list or something like that. And that is The Hitcher from Second Sight Films. Look at this sucker. This thing is a beast. So great addition, great movie. But Foz says he's had the snapper case so long it started to feel like family. For sure. And then when you had to upgrade it, you felt so guilty, like you were getting a new dog or something like that. But what a cool release, man. This is stocked full of stuff. Stocked. It looks fantastic. The best it's ever looked. This was a movie that's been on many lists that I've talked about throughout the years. I think when I first started my channel, one of the first videos I ever did were like movies that we need upgraded, and this was on there. 100% this was on there. So it was so cool to see that this was finally released. It was one of those things that it's like, finally, about time. It was another grail, guys. It was another grail. Same with The Keep. No matter if you love it or hate it, it was always one that people talked about, and you can't say otherwise. The thing sold out faster than like any Vinegar Syndrome title ever. And it's going for hundreds and hundreds of dollars online. So again, love it or hate it, it was super, super important. But I think Hitcher, my number 2 favorite horror physical media release of the year, and one of the most important releases of the year, because again, these studios are seeing that They don't need to go back to the well all the time. They don't need to give us the same shit over and over and over again. Try to find some of these movies. Dig. Try to figure it out. Even if they don't think they're going to sell, you never know. I'm sure they didn't realize The Keep was going to sell. I just saw that Orbit did a whole post about The Keep saying that, like, they have to cancel orders because there's none left. And Vinegar Syndrome didn't send them enough. So basically, Vinegar Syndrome sold them. Orbit made an order. They couldn't fulfill Orbit's order because they didn't have any left. Then Orbit had to like cancel some orders from people that pre-ordered it from them. It's a mess. Who would have thought something like The Keep would have caused such a big mess in the physical media community? It's wild to me. But The Hitcher is definitely deserving. And if you guys haven't seen it, there's multiple ways to watch this now. This is the 4K by Second Sight. I think this big box might be sold out, but you can get it in a standard release. Umbrella did its own Blu-ray release. So Hitcher's out there now, guys, which is huge because it's a fantastic movie from the 80s that I think everybody needs to check out. Let me see what people are saying about The Hitcher. People are saying it's back and forth on The Keep. Let me see. Okay. Would I get the protective case for The Hitcher? All I'm going to say is after this is over tonight, I need you to go watch my live video from like 2 days ago or something. And I tell it all there. So go check that out. All right. So my number one favorite and most important physical media release of the year when it comes to the horror genre, and that is Trick or Treat by Synapse and Red Shirt Pictures. This was my favorite release / announcement of the year. This is a favorite of mine. It always has been. And to see it get this kind of love for a movie that we thought we'd never see again was amazing. And as much controversy as this thing had getting made, as far as it was supposed to be out last year and all this stuff, it's here, guys. It's finally here. Everybody bought it. This is another one that sold out hella fast. If you missed it, the standard editions are coming out like next month or something. So you'll be able to get it, just not this chunky box. So if you don't care about all this stuff, you do get the movie and all that stuff. You just don't get the soundtrack, I don't think. Maybe. I don't think. But you don't get the posters and stuff like that. But it is going to be available again in a standard slipcover version. So don't sweat it. But Trick or Treat. And not only just the release itself, but they gave you the options of 3 variant covers. Like, the whole thing was awesome. The whole thing was awesome. And it looks the best it's ever looked. It sounds the best it's ever looked. It's got some great bonus features in here. So hats off to Michael Felcher at Red Shirt Pictures because he got it done. He got it done for a movie that people thought would never, ever come out again. Rights issues here, music issues there, and he was able to make it happen. And man, it's a killer release. And yes, this is the OG with Ozzy. Yes, it is, Prince. But yeah, this is my favorite release of the year. It is definitely a squishy release for sure. 100%. Sammy. Yeah, it comes out. Oh, is it out in March? Is that when it comes out? Okay, it'll be at the beginning of the year. Hell yeah. Number one. Yep. Yeah, Sammy Kerr. Yep. It's here and it's gone. 100%. Did I like Violent Night? I didn't, but I also promised Mel I would watch it again this December, and I haven't, so I got to probably make that a thing ASAP. Oh wow, Hitcher's still in stock. That's pretty damn amazing. I don't know what they do. What's up, Chris? Merry Christmas, man. Thanks for being here. I don't know what they do, but I know that they weren't able to send enough out for the amount of pre-orders that Orbit had. I know that much. So it's still a controversial release, but I think it's an important release because between Hitcher, Trick or Treat, The Keep, between those 3 selling so well, I think it really just shows a lot of these companies that, like, again, let's work harder here. Like, these, our market are collectors now. We don't need to keep putting the same thing over and over again. Like, let's think outside the box here. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but that Second Sight release that I have should be my end all be all release. Like, I don't need that again. So let's find something else. Um, but that's just my take on physical media now because you're seeing people with financial issues and it's taking a step back and not doing so much because a lot of it is the pricing now. And a lot of it is buying the same movies over and over again. If we're going to charge arm and a leg, let's make it look fantastic. Let's give it this treatment like something like this or like this. Like give us a cool treatment. Give us some movies that we haven't been able to get in 20, 30 years. Like that's what I'm really looking for this year. And in 2025, can they match this? And I'm going to get into that in a second, but I'll give you a couple other ones that I'll just throw out there. Like, I mean, Cemetery Man was a huge get. Cemetery Man was an honorable mention for me. If I did a top 10 list, this would have been in there. But this was a big release too, because this was another movie that was stuck on DVD, as far as I know, for so long. That's the only reason. That's the only way I had it. I don't know if it had like a release out of the country or something, but in the US, this was stuck on DVD and it was going for a hell of a big price tag on eBay until this thing was released. So Cemetery Man was a big release this year because it was another one of those movies that had been lost for so long. But I'll throw another one out there quick. I mean, this isn't the greatest thing ever, but to me, it was good. And we just talked about it earlier. I would even give some credit to Blood Tracks. Blood Tracks, again, it's not the greatest movie out there, but when you give me horror movies in the snow, hair metal, and Hills Have Eyes, and you give me all that in a movie, like, I'm down, man. Like, this is a movie I had never even heard of. An 80s slasher movie, hard rock slasher. I was all in on this thing. So, again, it's not Shawshank Redemption, but I mean, this is the kind of stuff I want. I want to find these hidden gems that have passed me by all these years. This was a cool release for me because it opened my eyes to something brand new. And, I love that, especially something from the 80s that I've been like, oh my God, out of all this stuff I've collected and all this stuff that I've watched, I've never even heard of this thing. Like, that's special to me. That's more important to me than buying, a lot of these other movies over and over again. And I'll even throw this one out there just because, again, it only had a DVD and the DVD was really shitty and it was like a Walmart DVD. And that was Indicator's release of Bruiser. Now this is the George Romero flick. Again, it's not the greatest Romero movie, but it was cool to see it get some love. I do think it gave this movie more respect than what it previously had with this release because people watched it again and like, you know what? That wasn't a bad flick. Because back in the day, it was like a Walmart. It came free with like Land of the Dead or something, a Walmart exclusive kind of thing. So it was nice to see that someone gave it some more love. So that's just a couple other ones that I have over here that I can throw out there that are kind of like, oh, this were cool releases. I think Blair Witch, I did have that on the table, is definitely one of the best releases of the year. But I will say this, to me, 100%, it's the best Blair Witch edition that's out there. And I'm very happy to have it. It's got other cuts of the movie. It's got documentaries. I love it. But it goes back to what I said. If they never did another Blair Witch movie and I just had my Blu-ray back there, I would have been okay. Because I didn't even realize that there was alternate cuts to this movie before this edition came out. So now that it's out and I have it, I'm like, best edition I could have ever had. I don't need anything else here. If they come out with a 4K tomorrow, I don't need it. Like, this is fine. But if I never knew this stuff and it never was announced, I could have lived with my Blu-ray probably for the rest of my life. So, that's why it didn't really make the list, but I will give it an honorable mention of release of the year. I just don't think it was an important release like some of these other ones were for the future of physical media. But I do think that it was one of the best of the year, bar none, no doubt. My man, Eli. What up, dude? Merry Christmas, man. And all right, let me get back to the chat. I'm going to start going through some of these comments, and then we're going to talk about 5 of my wants for this year. And I'll even give you some honorable mentions after this too. But let's see what people are saying over here. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Trick or Treat is definitely my number one as well. That'd be nice if they could drop the standard release at the same time as the limited release. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they were worried that. Here's all I can say about this is that Slippy did not think this thing was going to sell the way it did. He didn't. he told us that. He said, "Listen, I'm doing this many copies because it's, the gimmick. There's 3 covers." He's like, I hope to sell them all." So, I don't think standard edition was in his head yet because I don't think I thought he thought he was gonna be sitting on backstock of this movie. And when the movie sold so fast, he was like, "Shit, I gotta do something else, but I can't make more of these because one of the whole gimmicks was that there was gonna be a limited amount." So, I think that's really what happened with that, is that he really didn't have confidence that this was gonna sell the way it did. And I get it. It was his first major release. So how do you know? You can assume, but it's not Suspiria. It's not Friday the 13th. Like, this is Trick or Treat. If you're a horror fan of the 80s and you know this movie, if not, you may have seen this movie. It's not Trick or Treat with Sam. Like, that would have been a different story. Like, uh not Sammy Kerr, but Sam. He probably would have assumed, oh yeah, it's going to sell. But I think he was uncertain. But it goes to show again, when you give people something that they haven't had or seen and stuff like that and pretty it up a little bit, like, these things will move. Yeah, the Hitcher releases must have for sure. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what's happening there. I think that the re-releases on a lot of this stuff, people are starting to be like, oh, for $40, $50, $60 sometimes. Some of these steel books are like $60, $50. It's becoming a hard sell for people. I will say this, TJ. What's up, man? I was gonna get it, but I didn't. But $90 for the 2 posters and it's signed by Flanagan, that's worth $90. I mean, Flanagan, if you met him at a convention, easily $60. Easily. I don't know how much he's charging, but I'm just guessing. I mean, there's not many people that are under 60 nowadays. So you got to take that into consideration. You're getting a signed poster. I think 90 is very reasonable for that. Yeah, I was just talking about that, Foz. You see what Orbis they were going to. Oh, so basically, because of the debacle with the keep, they're not even going to try to get a lot of these limited things anymore. So what that being said is, when it comes to Vinegar Syndrome, you guys need to buy it from the site for sure. So which makes it even more important that you guys are back on this channel every time there's a big Vinegar Syndrome drop, because we're going to discuss all that stuff like we always do. And we're going to try to guide you guys in the right direction of do you get it or do you wait or whatnot? So, yeah, I did hear that. Yep. I don't know the reasons. I don't know if they're just selling way too good that they don't need to do it anymore. I don't know. So it is funny because I heard that because they sold their competitions is that what happened? Really? I know Cannibal the Musical is selling out quickly too. Let me see. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Yeah, everybody's being super cool in here. Everybody's chiming away. I'm sorry, I just can't get to everybody, but I'll do my best. I'm gonna do becoming the bully on the block. I mean, I can't because they had the rad sale and they named it after me. I gotta be respectful. I love Vinegar Syndrome. Let me see. I didn't see Mike's stream. I didn't see it. I'll have to check it out. So Diabolic is going to get some keep. The limited one, really? Huh. I had no idea. What up, dude? Merry Christmas to you. Let me see. Merry Christmas, man. Merry Christmas, Chase. Dallas, what's going on? I totally see them dropping a variant slip. I think they're probably going to drop a variant slip. I really do. Because, like I said, it's probably their biggest seller. Fastest seller. They're going to milk this as long as they can. So to have some kind of variant slip would only make sense for these people that are buying the standard edition. 100%. All right, Al, what's going on, man? All right, let me get into it. And I'm sorry if I'm skipping some of the comments over here. I just want to make sure I'm getting to some of this stuff. Now I'm going to talk about 5 horror movies or horror things that I want to see in 2025. Now, the first one's kind of like, and I have some honorable mentions I'll get to, but the first one, I'm going to say what I talked about before, and I'm going to say the Elm Street box set is got to be my number 5. And it should be my number 1 because I think it's really needed, but I'm nervous about it. I don't think we're going to get a real cool set, but I'm holding out a little bit of hope that they see who the market is for this and they see how well this Elm Street 4K box set sold. And maybe they're going to give us what we want. When you look at the Friday the 13th, the Halloween stuff, like it's all done really well. And I'm hoping that they can give Elm Street that kind of treatment, because when you look back in time, Elm Street had some of the coolest box sets. The VHS box set, I have it right here. It's like right next to this tape right there. Over here, I got 2 Elm Street box sets from DVD that are freaking killer. Like, it's got the silhouette of Freddy. Like, mimic that and do something like that. Have him on the side of the slipcovers, and mimic his image. Like, it would be so cool to see them go back in time and kind of replicate this style, but now in 4K. And I'm hoping that they maybe work with another company like an Arrow Video or somebody to say, hey, listen, like, let's work together here. We'll give you a cut. Let's get this thing out. Let's see what we can do. This thing will sell like hotcakes. If they give us shit, it's going to probably still sell, but I think a lot of collectors are going to be disappointed. So that is definitely my first pick. My number 5 is going to be Elm Street box set, but done right. And that's the only reason it's at number 5 is because I just don't have hope that it will be done right, but I'm hoping it's done right. Jay Fly, what's up, man? Thank you. Same to you. All right. So the next one, these next couple are important to me. Maybe not to you, but maybe I can open your eyes to something you guys don't know about. And the reason you don't know about it is because it hasn't been available for a long time, or it hasn't been on a format in a long time. A lot of these movies that come out now get a second love or a lot of bigger fanfare from people because they're just finding out about it for the first time. So when something is hyped, people get excited. And it could be about anything. I'm trying to think, like The Keep. People haven't been talking about that movie for years, but now all of a sudden it's like the hottest topic, right? It's like anything else. Anything that gets upgraded, people want to talk about it because it's new. So even if people haven't seen this or talked about this in a while, if this got a really nice addition, people are going to talk about it. And it did get a little bit of a bump a couple of years ago because Joe Bob did an episode on it. But to me, this is one of my favorite movies. This is right there with Trick or Treat. If you like Trick or Treat with Sammy Kerr, you're going to love Black Roses. Black Roses is another 80s hair metal horror movie, hard rock horror movie. And it's been one of my favorites since the day I saw this. I've recommended this a ton of times on this channel. I went on Sledgehammer Horror's show and recommended this to his audience. I freaking love Black Roses. Like for a heavy metal horror movie, to me, this is neck and neck with Trick or Treat. I think Sammy Kerr's a cooler character, but I think the music in this is top notch. I think the so bad it's good 80s practical effects are killer. It's fun as hell. The music's great. Like I said, this is a fun movie, guys. But Justin Smith is kind of right here. So the last I heard is that the Black Roses, like the prints were lost in like a flood or something, or they were moved somewhere and tossed away. Nobody's been able to find them. Synapse had done this. Okay. Now, I don't know if the version on Shudder for the Joe Bob Briggs special is better looking than this. I don't know. But I don't give a shit what we get. I mean, let's talk what's his name there? Dietz is out there now, like doing conventions. He was the main star of this movie. Like, I'm sure he's going to want to talk about this. Let's get some interviews with him. Let's find some of these cast members. Let's talk to them. It doesn't help that the people involved, some people had passed away. I would love to see the Stefano. He's done 3 movies, this Rock and Roll Nightmare, Jitters. Like, I would love to see a box set if we could. But give me Black Roses. Find this version and upconvert the damn thing for all I care. Like, let's get this thing out again. Because to have it sit on standard def is just a shame. So even if they can't give it the most love that they could as far as quality because of the lack of material, let's just try to take whatever version we have of this and upscale this as best we can, pretty up a packaging for it, get people to start talking about this movie because this thing is freaking awesome. And like I said, yeah, Rock and Roll Nightmare is his other movie. You can get them in a box set together. It would be freaking rad as hell. So Black Roses is my my second pick of my top 5 releases, horror releases I'd love to see in 2025. It's great. So yeah, so exactly. So Dallas says the negative is missing, but the DVD is actually from an HD master. So again, I think that they can make something work. I know if Synapse still has the rights to this, I know Don May's a perfectionist, so he probably doesn't want to have to do it this way. But I think with the love that Trick or Treat got, he should look at this and be like, you know what? Let's come up with a companion piece to Trick or Treat. Let's pretty this thing up. Let's even throw Rock and Roll Nightmare in there, make a cool box set, and see what happens. I mean, I think people will go nuts for this. It's a cool, fun ass movie for people who like heavy metal and horror movie from the 80s. So that is my next pick. And it seems like a lot of people in here that have seen this are giving it a lot of love, which is cool to see. And if you've never seen it and want to check it out, like I said, Shudder has that Joe Bob Briggs show that they do this with. I think they even did it with Frankenhooker as like a double feature. Yes, I'm sure it. Well, so there's 2 things he did, and that was the thought that he had this in a box. But once they went go looking for it, somebody else brought it up. Here we go. Yes, it was stored in an office. He passed away, and whoever cleaned it out. Exactly. That's what I heard as well. Yeah, and that's what I would do as well. Like, I would really, because if the VHS had a 3D cover, that's what they should do. Like, make a box similar to the Trick or Treat one, have a 3D cover. Like, there's so much you can do nowadays. You polish a freaking turd and people are going to buy it. This is not a turd. This is good. And it's actually a really cool movie. It's fun as hell. But yeah, Black Roses is another one that I highly, highly recommend. So number three is, I talk about this one. This could be number 2, number 3. This needs to be out by Christmas next year. 110% needs to be out by Christmas next year. TerraVision, I'm looking at you. If you can get Rumpelstiltskin, you can get Elves. What a cool movie. Cheesy as shit, but I mean, this is a wild movie. It says right here, Dan Haggerty, aka Grizzly Adams, in Elves, they're not working for Santa anymore. And you look at this. The elves in this are crazy looking. Some of the stuff in this movie is so damn laughable, but it's so damn good. It's like the cheesiest shit ever. And it's a Christmas movie, but like these elves are like working with Nazis. It's just freaking bonkers. And it takes place in a mall. And I did a commentary on this with Dead Pit. You can find that on my channel. It was something we did a long time ago, but this is one that I've always championed. In every video you're going to see about me talking about movies I want upgraded, this is on there. I've reached out to TerraVision in the past about it because they had released the soundtracks and they were like, oh, we would love to, but we really can't get a lot of the elements right now. And then I heard, people were talking to the director saying that, like, he's trying, he could be able to release this. And I don't know what needs to happen, but somebody needs to put this damn thing out. And TerraVision also kind of said the same thing about Rumpelstiltskin after they released the vinyl, and here it is. So let's hope that they're going to make Elves work. Let's get this out by Christmas next year. Somebody, I would love to see this get some love, because I'm sick and tired of being like one of the 5 people talking this thing up on Instagram and on YouTube for the last 5 years. So, I know I know there's other people out there that champion this thing too. So let's get this thing out for sure. Let me see. Oh man. What's up, Davey? Thank you, man. I'm sneaking one more for sure. So TJ says, what's TJ saying over here? Elves is weird. They had the master tapes, but for the music, but no negative. Again, this is another one where it's like, just give me something. Just give me something. Just give me something. Give me a companion piece to Rumpelstiltskin for elves, basically. Same style. Give us merch. Give us a cool box. I'll buy all that stuff. Elves, is it like Puppet Master or Ghoulies? I could say yeah. I could say yeah. I mean, the elves aren't they're not little. They're not little elves. They're freaky looking elves. They don't really look like your normal elf. I see Rob Zilla talking about Nosferatu. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it. I'm going to do a spoiler heavy review. Hopefully drop it tomorrow. I have a lot to say about it. If you want to know my kind of initial thoughts, I did a spoiler free review where I just kind of tell you what I thought about it. But yeah, I'm interested to see what people are saying. A part of me feels like, I feel like two things. I feel like people are going to be afraid to say anything negative about it. But I also think it kind of could be polarizing in a certain way too. Like, I think it could be a polarizing movie where people either going to kind of, there's elements they could love or hate. But I also think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be afraid to be honest if they didn't like it or didn't like it as much as they thought. So it's going to be weird to see. I think most people are going to enjoy it. I enjoyed it, but I did have problems with it as well. So, I mean, I'm kind of in the fence of like, I liked it more than I didn't, but I did think there was some things in it that I would have done differently, put it that way. But yeah, 100% Ragnar. They look like goblins. They look like goblins for sure. Let me see. Oh yeah, I have a bootleg DVD of Elves. I don't have a bootleg Blu-ray, but I have a bootleg DVD over there as well. I've had it for a very, very long time. I bought it at a convention too many years ago. All right, so number 2 of one of my most wanted movies to come out on physical media in 2025. And if I had to guess, who could put this out? Which company? It could be anybody, man. I would love to see Vinegar Syndrome do it, personally. I would love to see Vinegar Syndrome do it. I would even love to see Arrow do it, because when I think about this movie, I look back and I think what they did with Eric's Revenge, Phantom of the Mall, is what I would like them to do with this movie. Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge was my favorite physical media release of that year. You're asking me, what? Why? Because they gave so much love to a movie that never got any love. They put multiple cuts of the movie on. They exposed that movie to a whole new audience. They shined that thing up and people are like, holy shit, I'd never seen this. What is this? This could be awesome. Look at what Arrow did to it. And it unlocked a lot of fans. And for me, it was like, you know what? I liked Eric's Revenge. I liked Phantom of the Mall always. But it was never one I went back to often. But when that came out and I saw it and watched different cuts, I was like, oh, wow, this is better than I remember, because the upgraded quality just made such a big difference. So I'm hoping somebody could do something like that. And that is Summer Camp Nightmare, which is another one that maybe a lot of people haven't seen. But this is another one I champion all the time. Every time someone says to me, what do you want to see upgraded? Or what do you want to see come out in 4K? I say Summer Camp Nightmare. I don't say, The Stepfather. I say Summer Camp Nightmare. Because this movie is lost. It's lost on Laserdisc. It's lost on VHS. I have a bootleg DVD. This does not have an official DVD. This thing is lost. Now, who can find it? Who can put it out? That's TBD. I do not know. But this is a cool ass movie, guys. It's so cool that I put it above Elves, and I love that damn movie, as shitty as it is. But this movie takes place in a summer camp, and the owner of the summer camp is is Chuck Connors. and he's kind of a creepy old man. Some weird shit kind of happens with him. Basically, this is kind of like Lord of the Flies, but at a summer camp where the kids kind of take over the camp. And there's like two different sides, similar to Lord of the Flies. There's like, this guy's the leader of this group, this other kid's the leader of that group. There's some cool music in it. It's got some great characters in it. Trying to think of anybody that we know offhand. What's his name there? Thomas. I don't know. He was in Eric's Revenge too. It's Travolta's nephew there or whatever. He's like, I love that dude. He's like one of the raddest 80s dudes ever. But again, this is such a cool movie. Oh, Tom Fridley. Yeah, he's in this as well. I love that dude. I would go nuts if this got a physical media release. A nice one too. A really nice one. But I'll take anything. This is just one of those movies that I feel like once it gets discovered, people are going to really dig it. Really dig it. So let me get to my number one. And a lot of you are going to know what my number one is. I've said it a billion times. But I could have done a top 10. I just didn't want to be on here all hours of the night. And I'll get into a couple honorable mentions as well if I was to have done a top 10. It's got to be Fright Night 2. It has to be Fright Night 2. Needs to be my number one. Most wanted physical media release of 2025. Do I think we're going to get this 2025? No. Do I think that we're going to get this? Yes. But now it's just a matter of time. But I want it. I want this to get the love it deserves. I did a whole video on this movie. If you want to know more about this, what the problems are, what's going on with this movie, you want to talk about the movie in general, the history of this movie, go search down my videos, guys. Type in on my thing, Fright Night 2. I have Chris McGibbon on, who knows a lot about this movie. He works with studios as well. And we get into a deep dive on Fright Night 2. We're both big fans of this one. Pizal's a big fan of this movie. Him and I talked about Fright Night 2 for a very long time. This is a real cool vampire flick, a real cool sequel. I think one of my first videos I ever made on YouTube was my love for Fright Night. And I brought up Fright Night 2 and the memories I have with this movie. I saw Fright Night and Fright Night 2 together for the first time as a kid. It was back-to-back on cable, and I fell in love with these movies. So it needs to come out. It really does. And I really think that people are going to finally show this thing love when it finally comes out. I know it's probably number one for a lot of people. But again, I think we're still in a waiting game right now. And I'm hoping, the process is moving. There's been a couple times it's been rumored to be coming. Again, I would love to see this in 2025. I'm not holding my breath, but guys, if we keep talking about it, maybe it'll keep people moving and maybe we can eventually get this thing. But that's my number one. It always will be until we get it. But really quick, I mean, I know there's overseas releases. I don't count though. I have it on Blu-ray already, but I don't count that. I don't count it. There's bootlegs, there's overseas cuts. It's not what I want. I've got it, and I'm okay with it, and that's how I watch it now. So I don't watch it on this. I have it on VHS. I don't watch it here. I watch it on my Blu-ray. But it's not what it deserves. Put it that way. I want a better edition here in the States. Something that we can be proud of for a movie like that. But I'll throw up a couple out there on the top of my head. I see a couple people. Night Flyer, hell yeah. I would love to see a nice edition of that. I've just got the silly snapper case. Another one that's lost is Blood Beach. That thing's lost on VHS. I mean, that'd be a cool release as well. Obviously, the Prom Night movies. I think, they could do a box set. That would be great. I'm not the biggest Prom Night fan, to be honest with you. The first one, I'm not a real huge fan of that movie. I would buy it if it was in a box set. I would buy it again, but I wouldn't buy part one again, probably. I'm going to say the Peter Jackson stuff. I mean, Jesus, I would obviously Dead Alive. That's another one that I sold the Blu-ray I had so long ago because I thought we were going to get this thing easily, from Scream Factory or something like that, because it was only out for a short time. Near Dark. Near Dark is another one that easily could have been on this list. But we need it. We need Near Dark again. I do have the Blu-ray, so like for me, I'm not going crazy. Like I need Near Dark. I have the Blu-ray, so I'm okay for now, but I do think it deserves a nice edition and more people need to experience that movie. I would also take what's the other Peter Jackson one there? Obviously Feebles. I mean, I guess that's okay, but what's the other Peter Jackson one? It's late, guys. But anyway, that one I would love to see as well. So again, there's a lot out there that still need to come out. And those are the type of movies that I'm going to really go nuts for in 2025 is to get some of those most wanted finally in the collection, finally getting love, and have these pristine editions like a lot of this other stuff. And like I said, if you've been watching since the beginning tonight, I gave you my top 5 plus a couple honorable mentions of some of these movies that really, excited me this year. I don't get excited about a lot of these upgrades. I don't get excited about the re-releases. I get excited about these lost movies that, I've been waiting to finally get nice editions of in my collection. And I think 2024 did a real good job with that. If you go back 5 years and I do my top 20, most wanted horror movies on physical media, a lot of them have come out since then. So it's really cool to see that. Oh, Bad Taste. Yeah. Thank you. Like Frighteners, I'm sure, but I have the Blu-ray. So, I mean, I don't need Frighteners right now. I'm good. I like it. It's not one of my absolute favorites. A lot of the ones I talked about here are ones I would rather have, than Frighteners. But yeah, I see you say that, Davey. I still have my DVD of Dead Alive. I did sell my Blu-ray for big money in 2019, I think. But I only sold it because I did have the DVD, so I wasn't like losing it completely. But I thought for sure like it was going to get re-released. But well, I appreciate that, Robzilla. Yeah, I can't either. I'm excited, but I think there's going to be a little bit of a shift in some of this stuff because I'm seeing more and more collectors out there, struggling, financially or, just getting tired, burnt out with some of these releases, these re-releases and stuff. And, I'm hoping that because this is more of a collector's market now that we start seeing a lot more of these companies really trying to dig and find some of these movies that we've all wanted for a hell of a long time. And like I said, I think 2024 did a great job with it. So Pinocchio's Revenge is another one. Night of the Scarecrow, it just came out with like a Blu-ray. I mean, it looks fantastic. So I'm fine with my Night of the Scarecrow. Body Count, David Hess, I would be happy with that for sure. But Pinocchio's Revenge is another so bad it's good movie that I'd love to have a new edition of, for sure. I only have the DVD. But yeah, guys, like that's kind of my list here. And again, if I really dug down and thought about it more, I could give you more. I kind of threw this together in like 15 minutes. I did have my top 5 releases of the year done because, like I said, Rumpelstiltskin was on the list, but I couldn't wait anymore because I don't think we're getting it this month. So it'll be on another video for sure. But yeah, thank you, Gothic. Thank you for being here. I love Lost Media Discussions. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I've done multiple videos like this before. I love talking lost movies. And, if I really took more time and researched some stuff, I could do a whole nother video just on that. I think it'd be really cool with Dead Pit and stuff to do something about like lost movies, horror, not horror, because like I said, I got a whole wall of non-horror right here of movies that haven't got released. Like I said before, I talked about it, Loverboy, Can't Buy Me Love, and Encino Man. These are all movies that are still sitting here without any releases in sight. And it's some that I really, really want. All of Corey Haim's movies are pretty much, you can't get them. So I'm trying to think what else is up here that could be talked about. Kenny and Company, Survival Quest. Like these are all movies that Iron Eagle, these movies that are just sitting here still on DVD. So there's so much to talk about and I'd love to do it again. But guys, thank you so much for being here with me on Christmas night. I hope you guys had a great holiday. I will talk to the dudes and we will do a show on that. I promise. 100%. I definitely would. So thank you all for your support in 2025. We exceeded all goals for this channel. So thank you guys so much for being with me here. If I look back on the year and think about anything I could have done different, I wish I did more content, to be honest. I think that my biggest hurdle right now is being more consistent. My life's crazy. I try my best to get on here a couple times a week for you guys, either recording a video or talking to you guys. So the fact that you guys keep coming back has been huge. Definitely, again, turn your notifications on if you're not, because we've talked about it even in here tonight. People aren't getting them for some reason. Go back and check out some of the videos I did. The Rad Dudes Christmas was super cool. If you want to unlock some nostalgia, it's a great one to watch tonight, especially to end the night on Christmas evening. Like I said, I did a lot of them recently that you guys were even asking about. Oh, I talk about all these things. If you want to know how I protect these movies here, I did a whole video on that the other day. If you want to see my spoiler-free review on Nosferatu, you can go check that out. I will probably do a spoiler-heavy review because I do have a lot more to say with it. Davey, thank you, man. I gotta keep the gimmick, man. But I appreciate that. I really do. It really bums me out sometimes because I really would love to do like 5 videos a week. I just can't. So if I can get 2 or 3 in a week, I'm happy. But I feel like the last couple months I've been like doing 2, which I need to do a little bit better than that. Hey man, of course, I love chatting. I love doing this. If I have the time, I would do it. But I got to be in work all day tomorrow and on Friday. So you guys will see me again on Saturday for a double dose of Radpack. So again, like I said, go subscribe to the Radpack pod. We have our Christmas special, which is one of our most popular ones of the year, where we exchange gifts. And we will be following that up with a late night members only stream where it's going to get wild. If you saw the thumbnail, it's going to get wild over there. So guys, thank you again for hanging out with me tonight. This is Garrett at Born2beRad, and like always, stay